Sophia Etten, sorry, my mistake. You'll be speaking to us about sex education. Cindy Meyer will be next on deck, speaking to us about Moppin Elementary School Magnet Program. Ms. Etten, the floor is yours.
Hello, my name is Sophia Letzinetten. I'm currently a junior at Atherton High School, and I'm here to address the topic of sex ed. When I was a freshman, I received the sex ed program through my health class in the fall of that year. The people who came in to teach us were from a third-party organization, and the content was heavily flawed. The program was shame-based, religiously biased abstinence education. One example of an exercise we completed has stuck with me throughout high school. I was chosen to be the example, and the teacher gave me a piece of tape. She proceeded to instruct me to stick it on a variety of my classmates' arms, then try to attach it to another piece of tape. "It doesn't stick, does it?" she told us. She then elaborated by saying, "This tape represents a woman and her sexual partners. The other piece of tape is her husband. When she has had other sexual partners, she has a harder time sticking with her husband and is less valuable." Let me break down the flagrant issues in this analogy. For starters, what the presenter didn't know was that a month prior to her sex ed program, I was raped. I'll let you imagine how offensive and hurtful it is to compare a rape victim to a worthless piece of tape. She made me feel as if I was damaged goods because I had sex before, despite it not being my choice. Another issue with this tape demonstration is that it's blatantly sexist. The presenter made it gender specific, shaming a woman's sexual history but not addressing the male's. This follows the ingrained double standard that continually plagues women. Why is it that women are held responsible for everyone's sexual behavior? Why aren't men accountable as well? Our current sex ed program barely brushes on the issues of sex that we really need to understand. By resorting to an abstinence-only program, we turn a blind eye to the fact that many teenagers are going to have sex and therefore should understand the risks and how to protect themselves against the risks and how to navigate consent and healthy boundaries. Abstinence education barely addresses crucial aspects of sex that people need to know. For example, consent. Maybe, just maybe, if the JCPS sex ed curriculum had information and coherent instruction about positive consent, the guy who raped me might have had a better understanding that no means no and only yes means yes. Consent education has become a common standard in college orientations, but for many of us, it's too late. Maybe if JCPS sex ed had more information about how to deal with sexual assault, more survivors would feel empowered to hold their assailants accountable, which could prove a deterrent to other attackers. In addition, JCPS students come from a variety of experiences and backgrounds, and our sex ed should cover LGBTQ inclusive health relationships, domestic violence, healthy relationships. I'm a JCPS student and I support adopting comprehensive sex education in all of our schools. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Letzinetten. Cindy Meyer is now talking to us about Moppin Elementary Magnet School Program. Jessica Diaz will also next on deck to talk to us also about Moppin Elementary School. Ms. Meyer.
Thank you. Hello, my name is Cindy Meyer, and I'm a parent and teacher at Moppin. I've been informed that our innovation and model funds have been frozen until after the state audit, and we don't want to wait until after the release of the audit results to voice our concerns and the impacts on Moppin. We'd like to find a way to preserve the model at Moppin at all costs. In a Waldorf approach, children not only use their heads to do the work to learn, but their hearts to feel emotions connected with the material, their hands and bodies to do things with the learning. During our child's first year, he has been able to learn through play, movement, song, story, and imitation. The beautiful education he received in kindergarten made his transition to kindergarten much easier. School work in preschool was never fun for our child. Anytime a teacher would push learning in a formal setting, he would shut down. At Moppin, school became joyful and fun and something he did not want to miss. I also feel it's an important asset to the children living in the Parklands community that their education is not based on just testable skills, but skills that provide children with capacity. Truly, the audit at Moppin should never have taken place. It only happened because the current Moppin program was held accountable to the school's low test scores prior to the Catalpa model being placed there. Students at Moppin educating using the Catalpa model have not even reached a testable age yet, so the magnet is not responsible for those scores. Nevertheless, the audit happened, and we realize that neither the district nor the board can control what the state's recommendations will be on the audit results. However, we hope that the district crafts a turnaround effort plan at Moppin that will required by the state and the board to ensure that the Catalpa Magnet program remains as part of the turnaround effort, even if that means to appeal the audit. The students, teachers, families, and taxpayers who have invested so heavily in the Catalpa model deserve the preservation of the magnet program long enough to see the results. I hope you will consider keeping the Catalpa model funded at Moppin so children can consistently grow and learn in the same ways. The children of the Parkland community deserve a truly beautiful education that teaches them so many skills that are not even testable. Waldorf education is the largest growing education model in the world, and JCPS is a part of it right now. Please keep the program for our children. Please keep it growing in the magnet Please keep growing the magnet schools in JCPS, which have garnered national attention and acclaim. JCPS needs more diverse educational opportunities, not less. We need to allow new and innovative magnet programs time to grow and become as sought after as those which have already established. In order for this to occur, Moppin needs funding and support. Most of all, the teachers, the children, and the school need a stable future.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Jessica Deas is now, will speak to us about Moppin Elementary School. Aaron Corbelow is next on deck. Ms. Deas.
Hi, my name is Jessica Dice. I'm a parent of two children at Moppin Elementary. You all received emails from me over the weekend, and I appreciate those of you that responded. The responses I got were supportive and expressed that you are in the dark as us parents when it comes to what is and is not happening at Moppin. After following the Schools of Innovation competition, I decided to send my then emerging second grader and kindergartner to the newly incepted Catalpa School at Moppin. I could have left the second grader at Lincoln and likely obtained a seat for the kindergartner, as I know these spots at Lincoln are highly coveted. But I was greatly inspired by the Catalpa model and felt it would be even more beneficial for my children. I was mostly right. While the school faced inherent challenges through the transition, my children's confidence and creativity was blossoming. Then, without any warning, the media informed us over Thanksgiving break that first year, only 3 months in, that the school was going to be held accountable for prior year's test scores, which meant without a massive improvement, Moppin would enter priority status. In response, administration decided to revert back to traditional curriculum for grades 3 through 5. This, combined with the addition of several teachers, thus some students being moved to new classes, caused several magnet families to leave. Once the test scores for the school year came out, to no surprise, the children who are already struggling and just underwent a major transition with new staff and new models were incredibly low. Somehow, despite former talk of an alternate timeline and waived scores, this prompted an audit by KDE. Because of this, the SBDM, through the administration's push, decided to remove Waldorf language from the school's mission and vision statement. At that time, administration insisted that in practice, nothing would change. It was just an attempt to please the highly anticipated auditors. When returning to the school for the 16-17 school year, things also felt different. While the hallways were more peaceful and several classes were able to loop with their teachers, there are also numerous classrooms that no longer had the homey Waldorf feel that they did the prior year. It appeared that the encouragement and support for Waldorf methods had dropped off to some degree, despite increasing magnet enrollment and parent involvement. Even still, talks continued as if the magnet program was not under threat. I kept being told that they had preemptively done everything the auditors had asked for, or would ask for, such as new administration, new staff, removing the Waldorf language along with the alternate timeline. Then last week, SBDM apparently met to discuss the budget, and discussions were had that JCPS had put the add-on budget for Moppin on hold, which meant funding for many of the items that make Moppin unique. Yesterday, we got a last-minute Q&A and got more questions than answers. But in short, we're told that everything was pending the audit results, which would be released at an undetermined time. Meanwhile, potential incoming families had a sticker applied to their acceptance letter stating, "We want to inform you that Moppin Elementary is currently designated as a priority school by the Kentucky Department of Education. Based on our priority status, changes may occur that impact the magnet program for the 17-18 year."
Thank you, Ms. Dias. Aaron Corbelow is next to talk about district leadership. Next on deck will be Carla Robinson to discuss Moppin Elementary School. Ms. Korbalov.
All right. What is necessary is never unwise. I'd like you to keep those words in your minds as you listen to my message this evening. I was here before you almost 6 months ago, on August 25th. I spoke of a growing lack of confidence in our superintendent's leadership. The concerns have increased as Frankfurt has put forth numerous bills that seek to stifle our local control over our public school district, as well as do real damage to our public schools and to our students. Furthermore, Commissioner Pruitt has announced that there will be a state audit of JCPS, which has the potential to result in a state takeover of our district. We recognize that this audit will not show our current superintendent's policies and actions in a positive light. This audit will require strong leadership to demonstrate to the commissioner that JCPS has the ability to learn from past mistakes and move forward with the great purpose that the people of Jefferson County have entrusted you with, to successfully educate every child that walks through the doors of any JCPS school. As we have heard many times, you cannot fix what you cannot face. So we now have to face the fact that Dr. Hargens is not in a strong position to lead our district successfully through this state audit. In the best interest of our students, and in the best interest of your professional career, Dr. Hargens, I respectfully request that you resign your position as the superintendent of Jefferson County Public Schools. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Korbalov. Ms. Robinson, it is now your turn to discuss Moppin Elementary School. And next will be Rob Matthew discussing accountability, and that will be our last speaker. Ms.
Hello.
Robinson.
Hello, my name is Carla Robinson, and I wanted to speak to you today ahead of the upcoming release of the audit results as it relates to Moppin Elementary. As a child who grew up in the Parkland community, I attended Moppin, and when it was right across the street. So as an adult, me and my husband found it appropriate to send our oldest daughter there. The Waldorf learning style has changed my little 7-year-old, who before it became a Waldorf school, cried every single day as we had to either drag her or urge her to go into the school. Now she loves her teacher, Adrian Moore, and all the staff at Moppin, even though, in her words, they give her many hours of challenging work to do. According to the test that she receives, my daughter may not be labeled the smartest kid in the school, but each day she learns something new. She may not right now know what 80 times 20 is, but she does understand what it means to be a good citizen and respectful to others, and why we should be that way towards each other. She also knows what it means to see yellow and red tape around a house or a street corner and police and fire trucks everywhere, and that is because we chose to raise our daughter in the west end of town, and we plan to never leave. This board allowed the program to launch at Moppin Elementary a little over a year ago, and at that time, they told us that it would take about 4 years of this style of learning before we would see results. My concern is that knowing that Moppin was already having issues and could possibly be labeled as a priority school at the state level and at jeopardy of a possible audit, why would we decide to, at that point, select this school at that location? Now, the students that are there are starting to get it and embrace the new program. And this board has allowed the possibility of this program being snatched away from these children. On February the 7th, 2017, you voted on a resolution declaring JCPS a safe haven school district to protect families and students who are undocumented and living in this community. And I agree to that. All that I am asking from you today is to protect and fight with every breath in your body for the kids at Moppin, and to keep the Waldorf school style of learning at Moppin Elementary, which is one of our District 1 schools, once the audit is released, no matter what the results are. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Robinson. Our last speaker this evening will be Rob Matthew discussing accountability. Mr. Matthew.
And before I begin, I hope that Atherton discussion results in somebody saying what happened there. I've not heard a word from JCPS, and that kind of goes to accountability. And after that student speech tonight, I hope to God you all do something about that and say something as to what happened there. As we sit here tonight, we're looking down the barrel of numerous pieces of legislation: charter schools, neighborhood schools, bills to allow people to travel to any district that will have them. Then we have a KDE audit that could be potentially devastating. And as a JCPS parent and huge public school board supporter, I want to challenge them all, and I want to defend the district. But it's hard. It's truly hard. For 2 years now, since Dr. Hargens' 4-year renewal was pushed through by a couple of overzealous board members and unfortunately proved by everyone but Ms. Duncan, it seems like JCPS has been heading in the wrong direction. Dr. Harkins has assembled a new staff around her, pushed out many knowledgeable veterans of JCPS, and seems blasé at best as any negative story after negative story comes out. While JCPS's actions to both turn around the ship and efforts to publicize the many good things going on at all JCPS schools have fallen far short. We know charters are coming, and we know that many in the state, including our education secretary, governor, and some of our local representatives, are actively going to undermine public education, especially here in Louisville. What I didn't realize was that with so many visibles in JCPS, we'd make it easy for them to make their case. And that some of our alleged partners, including Greater Louisville Inc., who had nothing but praise for Dr. Harkins, would jump on the charter bandwagon so easily. And so, as someone who has tried to give you the benefit of the doubt, Dr. Harkins, it's hard for me to say this, but I believe it's time for you to step aside or the board to move to find new leadership. Years of bad publicity and questionable moves have managed to hurt students, teachers, and parents, as well as JCPS's standing in the eyes of the city and the state. As we enter a potentially dark time for public education here in Kentucky, we need a vocal and visible warrior for JCPS, preferably from inside our system, who is working to show our city, county, and state leaders that JCPS is far from a disaster, as our governor so tactlessly put it, but instead is a school system working hard to educate while facing serious social and economic challenges that are unique within the entire state. I appreciate the time and efforts that Dr. Harkins has put into JCPS, the time that she's taken to discuss issues with me, but it's clear that we're falling short in the eyes of those in the state who can most directly and adversely impact what we're trying to do here. So I ask that she consider stepping aside and letting us move forward with leadership more ready to take on the challenges ahead. Thank you.
All right, so that concludes our speakers for this evening. At this time, we're going to move on to our next agenda item, which will be the superintendent's report.